Markets end tepid after touching intraday high. Nifty closes above 6,600 levels. Metals and banking's gain. Supreme Court sets condition of depositing 10,000 crore rupees by Sahara Group for granting bail to its chief Subrata Roy. And Prime Minister says Congress model of development more inclusive, says his UPA government uplifted 14 crore people out of poverty. Rahul Gandhi says views of common people have been included in the manifesto. Well, hello and welcome to Business Wrap. I am Siddhant Sibal and let's begin with our staple, that's the stock markets. Key benchmark indices registered small gains after witnessing high volatility during the latter part of the trading session. After hitting record high in the afternoon trade, the barometer index, the S&P BSE Sensex and the 50-unit CNX Nifty both slipped into red in mid-afternoon trade. The two key benchmark indices regained positive zone later. The Sensex closed 40 points up at 22,095 while NSE Nifty closed at 6,601 levels, up 12 points. Gainers on the chart were SSLT, Hindalco, Tata Motors, Coal India and L&T, which were up by between 4 to 2%. Losers on the chart were Dr. Reddy's Lab, Sun Pharma, TCS, Mahindra & Mahindra and Cipla, which were down by between 3 to 1%. Indian stocks may remain volatile tomorrow, that's 27th March 2014, as traders roll over positions in the futures and options segment from the near month March 2014 series to April 2014 series. The near month March 2014 FNO contracts expire tomorrow. The market breadth indicating the overall health of the market was negative. Well, the BSE Sensex is forecasted to continue setting new record highs this year as foreign capital is lured into the market. Analysts expect foreign investors to continue buying Indian shares in the run-up to the world's largest democracy going to the polls in April and May. The street expects Sensex to hit 23,000 by June end. Here's a special story on how the markets have traded before every general election.
A 12% rise in the Sensex to record levels above 22,000 is the second biggest pre-election rally in the last 6 poll years and points to investor hopes of a stable and business-friendly government. However, there have been such hopes in every one of the last 6 election years though. The Sensex has risen ahead of every one of the last 6 general elections. In the month leading up to 1991, 1996 and 1998 Lok Sabha polls, it rose marginally by 1.5%, 1% and 1.5% respectively. However, in 2004 and in 2009, the Sensex soared 7% and 28% respectively in the month leading up to the elections. Typically, infrastructure, auto and banking stocks have done well in the run-up to the most elections. The reason behind it is that India is going through a sustained 20-year boom since the launch of economic reforms in 1991, and every government promised to increase spending on infrastructure. Rising prosperity leads to high growth in the auto sector. In the same course, banks also gets benefited. Apart from the expectation of a stable government after the Lok Sabha elections, a host of macroeconomic positives like low rate of inflation, an appreciating rupee, rising exports and lower current account deficit has lifted the Sensex and the Nifty to lifetime high. Heavy FII buying has also led to this record gain in the Indian markets. So far this month, the FIIs have net bought stocks worth about $2.3 billion. At the end, it would not be wrong to say that more or less market has shown affection towards polls, and combined with these economic factors, once again it is on new highs. Business Bureau, DD News.
Well, we can expect the bull run to continue to the run-up to the elections. On to global market action. Asian shares edged higher on Wednesday after U.S. consumer confidence climbed to a 6-year high, vowing investors optimism about the outlook for the world's biggest economy. Key benchmark indices in Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, Indonesia and South Korea were up by between 0.37% to 1.26%. In mainland China, the Shanghai Composite was off 0.18%. On to European stocks. European stocks also edged higher on Wednesday, with mining issues leaping higher after price gains for copper and other metals. Key benchmark indices in UK, France, Germany were up by between 0.49% to 1.21%. Well, Congress President Sonia Gandhi has released party's manifesto today for the upcoming Lok Sabha polls. Congress manifesto focused on more investment to all the sectors, employment opportunities and inclusive growth. Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh said that Congress model of development is more inclusive and the Congress government has uplifted 14 crore people out of poverty.
The Congress model is the model which recognizes that there is a need for an expanding economy to provide lasting solutions to the problems of poverty.
Well, speaking on the manifesto, Congress President Sonia Gandhi assured that the right to health to all the citizens will be given if Congress is voted to power. She also promised for right to pension to all old and underprivileged and housing for the poor.
इसमें हमने सभी देशवासियों के लिए स्वास्थ्य के अधिकार का वादा किया है, जिससे सबकी सेहत की देखभाल एक सच्चाई बनकर सामने आए। कांग्रेस पार्टी सभी भूमिहीन और गरीब परिवारों को आवास के अधिकार का भी दावा कर रही है।
Well, some news from the courts. Sahara chief Subrata Roy was today granted bail after 22 days in the jail, but the Supreme Court has ruled that he has to first deposit 10,000 crore rupees with market regulator SEBI, half of it in cash. The ruling comes a day after Sahara submitted a fresh proposal to return crores that owes to around 3 crore small investors. On Tuesday, the company had said that it would pay 20,000 crore rupees by March 15, 2015 in 5 installments. Sahara lawyers had sought bail for Subrata Roy and 2 other directors, assuring that the court that they won't run away. Subrata Roy was arrested on February 28th after failing to appear at a contempt hearing in a long-running legal battle between the group and SEBI over refund of crores of rupees to investors. He has been held in Delhi's Tihar jail since March 4th. Well, continuing with the news from the court, Supreme Court today pulled up the central government for failure to take steps during last 6 decades to bring back black money deposited in foreign banks. Supreme Court rejected centre's plea against setting up SIT to monitor and probe the issue of black money inside and outside the country. Court has dismissed the petition of the centre seeking modification in the Supreme Court's earlier judgment in 2011. The court had directed the centre to form a special investigation team to look into the issue of black money. Well, time for a short break. More after this break.
भारत की रगों में तोड़ते हैं, रास्तों को मंजिलों से जोड़ते हैं। भारत के मजबूत हाथ, हम सब हैं एक साथ। भारत के मजबूत हाथ।
इन हाथों को मिलेगी रोजगार और इलाज की सुरक्षा और एक चैन की जिंदगी। हर हाथ शक्ति, हर हाथ तरक्की।
क्या आप कुछ छुपा तो नहीं रहे? प्रॉपर्टी ट्रांजैक्शंस, कैश डिपॉजिट्स, बिग परचेजेस, परचेज ऑफ शेयर्स, बॉन्ड्स एंड डिबेंचर्स। कुछ छुपाइए नहीं, क्योंकि हम सब जानते हैं। आयकर विभाग के नोटिस का इंतजार मत कीजिए। यदि आपने अपने अग्रिम कर का भुगतान अभी तक नहीं किया है या अपनी आयकर विवरणी अभी तक दाखिल नहीं की है, तो 31 मार्च तक अवश्य कीजिए और देश की प्रगति में भागीदार बनिए।
भारत की रगों में तोड़ते हैं, रास्तों को मंजिलों से जोड़ते हैं भारत के मजबूत हाथ हम सब हैं एक साथ भारत के मजबूत हाथ
इन हाथों को मिलेगी रोजगार और इलाज की सुरक्षा और एक चैन की जिंदगी। हर हाथ शक्ति, हर हाथ तरक्की।
Hi and welcome back. The slump in infrastructure and corporate investment has been the single biggest contributor to India's recent growth slowdown. An IMF working paper has said it finds that heightened uncertainty regarding the future course of broader economic policies and deteriorating business confidence have played a significant role in the recent investment gloom. Facebook has announced it will buy Oculus VR, a Californian company which specializes in virtual reality products, for around $2 billion. The startup's flagship product, the Oculus Rift, is a Google-like immersive handset for video gaming. It was developed with a fund raised through a crowdfunding site Kickstarter and subsequent investment. Facebook's boss, Mark Zuckerberg, said that Oculus technologies could change the way we work, play and communicate. It is the latest purchase for Facebook, which last month spent $19 billion on mobile messaging platform WhatsApp. Election Commissioner H.S. Brahma has said that Election Commission will decide on the issue of new bank licenses on Monday. He also said that Election Commission's nod is required to notify rules under the new Companies Act. On to the rupee. The rupee is on a rise. The rupee closed higher by 35 paise or 0.56% at 60.14 against the US dollar. The Indian rupee strengthened to its highest level in 8 months on Wednesday morning, held by hopes of continued foreign fund inflows, while gains in other Asian currencies also underpinned sentiment. RBI's credit policy is scheduled on April 1st and the outcome will show the road ahead for the rupee. Well, from the rupee to the pound, a campaign is launched in the UK to try and persuade the government to allow the pound to devalue, saying it would help boost growth and investment. The cost of having a strong currency, it's not just a problem confined to Britain now.
A call to arms to devalue the pound, it's not the usual cry from business. John Mills, who's an economist and founder of consumer products brand JML, believes sterling's too strong and is hurting the economy. He's just launched the pound campaign.
All the evidence shows that you then get a huge surge of output as you bring together both new investment in manufacturing and big reductions in unemployment.
A weaker currency would help GDP growth reach levels of 5% a year, and the alternative may lead to stagnation that may last for decades. Britain could also look to Asia for advice. Japan has devalued the yen by around 30% over the past year, and China has also kept its yuan artificially low.
The reason why the Chinese economy is growing as fast as it is because of the very high levels of investment in light industry, where the returns are highest, and the migration of large numbers of people from very low productivity agriculture to the industrial part of the economy.
The campaigners would like to see the pound at the 1.10 pound level rather than the current 1.65 pound level. They say that would help manufacturing rise to 15% of the output from current 10% and so improve the trade deficit. However, Britain currently enjoys faster growth than many other developed economies, but they may not find the government that receptive. UK inflation fell to a 4-year low in February to 1.7%. That is expected to reduce pressure on the Bank of England to raise rates in the near future. Strong pound has always been a source of British pride. If these campaigners get their way, they'll change that, meaning Britain could lead the currencies of the world's developed economies down, not up. Business Desk, DD News.
Well, move over BRICS. Mint is here. That is the current countries of Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria and Turkey. But the Nigerian economy may be one of the new emerging mint markets, but like Europe, it is facing massive unemployment problem. Last week, at least 7 job hunters were killed in a stampede. Let's have a look at the challenges the Nigerian economy faces.
Nigeria is seen as future economic powerhouse. Oil-rich states in the south have helped the economy grow by 6%. But for the youth, it has not helped out. Being graduated from reputed universities, they are looking for jobs.
It's been a very difficult term because you keep searching, keep submitting CVs, they keep turning you down.
Yukarek attended a government-backed recruitment drive in the capital, Abuja. But things turned deadly when 60,000 job seekers turned up to fill just 4,500 vacancies. At least 7 people were killed in a stampede and dozens were injured. Unemployment is a huge challenge in Nigeria. Particularly among the country's youth, it is estimated that more than 37% of under 25 are out of work.
It's a ticking bomb and it's waiting for us. Invest massively in public works. Invest massively in infrastructure. Where are we going to get the money from? Curb corruption. $20 billion is missing. We know how much we lose to crude oil theft every day. Block the loopholes.
Nigeria's universities were once regarded as some of the best in Africa, but successive military governments and a dramatic fall in oil prices in the 1980s have taken their toll. Now the government wants to encourage entrepreneurship. It has introduced 39 new subjects to its education curriculum, including plumbing, decorating, upholstery and photography. It's a formidable challenge. Nigeria may be one of the new emerging mint markets, but 60% of Nigerians still live in poverty. Business Desk, DD News.
Well, DD News has been following developments in Crimea and Ukraine and how they affect the world. Well, the German business morale has dropped for the first time in 5 months. The figures suggest firms in Europe's largest economy is beginning to worry that a standoff with Russia and further sanctions over Ukraine will hurt them. Here's the report.
Germany's economy has been gliding along gracefully in recent years, but the spring has brought change. Business morale dropped in March for the first time in 5 months. Firms in Europe's largest economy are beginning to worry about Russia and sanctions over Ukraine. The key IFO index, which surveys 7,000 companies, fell below 111 points, missing a consensus forecast.
Forward-looking component, a little bit more anxious, a little bit more uncertain. We've got to remember that the bilateral trade between Russia and Germany is really very significant. So it is quite likely that we will see the forward-looking components again of this IFO a little bit bogged down, a little bit concerned about the progress in the geopolitical arena.
Germany receives more than a third of its gas and oil from Russia. More than 6,000 German firms are active there, and business associations and trade bodies are warning any escalation could be catastrophic.
Right now, we don't see Russia turning off our gas supplies, but psychologically it might play a role. We are seeing German companies halting investments in Russia and pulling money out. So far, we don't see a decline in exports, but if sanctions were to be drastically increased, there could be counter-reactions from the Russians, and then German exports could drop.
Farm machinery maker Lemkin has also reported a big drop-off in orders as the sliding ruble raises their sale price. Well, Russia is the second biggest market. The economy overall, though, does not worry about too many ugly ducklings. IFO remains optimistic and continues to forecast strong growth. Business Desk, DD News.
Well, meanwhile, Lithuania's energy minister has called on the US Senate to speed up the export of natural gas to Europe. Lithuania's energy minister said that the country was being forced to pay a political price for being entirely dependent on Russian gas supplies. The crisis in Ukraine has led to calls for the US to ease its current restrictions on gas exports. Well, time for a short break. More after this break.
2 एकम 2, 2 दूनी 8, 8 दूनी 24, 24 दूनी 60। अगर आप सोच रहे हैं कि मेरे पहाड़े गलत हैं, तो आप गलत सोच रहे हैं। ये महंगाई का वो पहाड़ा है जो इस देश की सरकार हमें पढ़ा रही है। महंगाई का पहाड़ खड़ा करने वालों जनता माफ नहीं करेगी।
चलो हालात बदले, देश की सरकार बदले, भाजपा को वोट दे, अब की बार मोदी सरकार।
क्या आप कुछ छुपा तो नहीं रहे? प्रॉपर्टी ट्रांजैक्शंस, कैश डिपॉजिट्स, बिग परचेजेस, परचेज ऑफ शेयर्स, बॉन्ड्स एंड डिबेंचर्स। कुछ छुपाइए नहीं, क्योंकि हम सब जानते हैं। आयकर विभाग के नोटिस का इंतजार मत कीजिए। यदि आपने अपने अग्रिम कर का भुगतान अभी तक नहीं किया है या अपनी आयकर विवरणी अभी तक दाखिल नहीं की है, तो 31 मार्च तक अवश्य कीजिए और देश की प्रगति में भागीदार बनिए।
2 × 2, 2 दूनी 8, 8 दूनी 24, 24 दूनी 60। अगर आप सोच रहे हैं कि मेरे पहाड़े गलत हैं, तो आप गलत सोच रहे हैं। ये महंगाई का वो पहाड़ा है जो इस देश की सरकार हमें पढ़ा रही है। महंगाई का पहाड़ खड़ा करने वालों जनता माफ नहीं करेगी।
चलो हालात बदले, देश की सरकार बदले, भाजपा को वोट दे, अब की बार मोदी सरकार।
Welcome back. Malaysia's acting transport minister has said that 122 objects potentially from the missing Malaysian flight have been identified by satellite. The images taken on 23rd March showed objects up to 23 meters in length. Some of the objects captured by France-based Airbus appears bright and were possibly of solid material. Flight MH370 from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing disappeared on 8th March with 239 people on board. Meanwhile, a British satellite used a wave phenomenon discovered in the 19th century to analyze the 7 pings it picked up from the Malaysian airline flight MH370. Here's a report.
A 19th century discovery helped solve the mystery of the missing Malaysian Airlines flight. British firm Inmarsat used an ancient wave phenomena to analyze the 7 pings picked up after the flight disappeared off radar screens.
We have used the difference in speed at which the signal has come from the aircraft to the fixed point, the satellite in space. It's called Doppler effect. And if you can imagine a train whistle getting louder as it comes towards you and getting more faint as it goes away from you, we're looking at those signals and deciding where the aircraft was on a particular route and a path.
Inmarsat's findings led the Malaysian authorities to conclude the Boeing 777 had crashed in the southern Indian Ocean, thousands of miles of course.
We cannot tell you to the last degree where that plane is. We can tell you the likely area to search, and certainly it would appear that that search is now concluding in that area. But because there was no GPS data, because it wasn't mandated, and no other data coming off the plane, we can only provide you the direction of travel, eliminate the northern route, and say it's going to be in this box.
The incident is likely to spur a review of aviation rules. Inmarsat says it should have happened years ago.
It is extraordinary that in this day and age, commercial jets do not have a requirement on them to automatically and independently report their speed and position. It can be done for less than $1 per hour. Existing systems that we have are fitted on 10,000 aircraft, another 5,000 of our more advanced aircraft. It could be done in the matter of just the time to mandate.
Search teams are still trying to find wreckage from the plane. Inmarsat may have solved one mystery, but there are plenty of other unanswered questions. Business Bureau, DD News.
So plenty of other mysteries. It's 26th March today. On this day in 1974, people of Uttarakhand started Chipko movement or Chipko Andolan through the act of hugging trees to protect them from being put into other use like fuel. Here's a special report.
Rapid deforestation and continuous rise in Earth's average temperature. This is how global warming is defined. Global warming, which is one of the biggest problems of the fast developing world. Every year, prominent leaders of the world meet and discuss ways to combat this problem. But they fail to incorporate the message which the women of India gave in the 70s through Chipko movement. On 26 March 1974, a group of peasant women of Raini village of Joshimath of the then Uttar Pradesh and present-time Uttarakhand carved out a unique way to protect the falling down of trees and to reclaim their traditional forest rights that were threatened by the contractors assigned by the State Forest Department. Through the act of hugging trees, Gaura Devi led the protest. Soon this method of staging protest gained popularity. Renowned environmentalist and a Gandhian, Sundarlal Bahuguna and Chandi Prasad Bhatt provided leadership to this movement. And the movement reached Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar and even Karnataka, where it was known as a PICO. It was the Chipko movement that paved way for the Forest Conservation Act of 1980, and it was only after this movement that the immediate government completely banned cutting down of trees for lowland region for 15 years. According to a report of Forest Survey Department, only 21% of country's total land is covered under forests. However, this percentage is also declining with time, and we are bound to confront the repercussions of our indifferent attitude towards the environment. The natural disaster in Uttarakhand in 2013 tried to teach us all a lesson. Now, it's only up to us whether we want to imbibe the lessons of such natural disasters and the Chipko movement so that our coming generations gets to live in a green and beautiful environment. With Sandeep Singh, Amit's report, TD News.
Well, time for a recap of the headline. Markets end tepid after touching intraday high. NIFTY closes above 6,600 levels. Metals, banks gain. Supreme Court sets condition of depositing 10,000 crore rupees by Sahara Group for granting bail to its chief Subrata Roy. Prime Minister says Congress model of development more inclusive, says his UPA government uplifted 14 crore people out of poverty. Rahul Gandhi says views of common people have been included in the manifesto. Well, that's all in this edition of Business Wraps. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.